Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ray. In this video, we're going to talk about how to listen and how to abstain from coming into arguments with your partner or arguing with your mom, and maybe you think that you're not getting through to them in some way. How about you're trying to explain yourself to a colleague or a friend and things are getting warmer over a very small disagreement? When you hear someone say the word listen, do you get upset because of that? What is the first thought that comes to mind? Is it, I am listening, you're not listening to me, and you're just waiting for your turn to actually talk? Sounds like a similar situation, doesn't it? If you are unable to see the problem in this scenario, that's okay. You're not the first. In today's video, you will understand exactly why it happens and how to avoid it. Even though this is a very general subject, in this video I'm going to take the partner argument as an example because they are the closest to us. But you can see that it's just one example of many. Everyone wants to be on good terms with our second half, with our partners, with our colleagues, with our family. We all want to show our support and to be there for our significant others. But then there's this one word that can just throw us off completely. And that is, during an argument, the word listen. Listen, listen. To all its variations. It just stops us. And we get offended, we try to listen, but we're actually just waiting for our time to be heard, The moment we hear something like, please just listen, or the general volume of the conversation goes up a notch, thoughts start bubbling up. Anything like, am I being listened to? Is my message coming across? Or probably the worst of them all, and that's the feeling that everything you've just said has been overwritten. That way, the other side speaks up as if completely disregarding your opinion. Almost everyone gets upset by this, and for good reason. However, such reactions are a warning signal that needs to be addressed. When something like this happens, it's often a sign of miscommunication. It's even beyond miscommunications. Pay attention, because what I'm about to tell you will make you understand this from a higher perspective. Once you go into a state of mild anger, or you're just waiting for your turn to be heard, once you go into a defensive mode, once your heartbeat escalates above 90, you are no longer reasonable. What that means is that you are no longer thinking logically with your mind. You probably noticed that arguments are easily enticed, but take a very long time to unwind. This is the reason for that. When we are justifying ourselves, we are no longer thinking straight. This is why we have remorse later on. And we are not the only sinners, it's the other side as well, right? It's not only us. Now, hear me out. I'm sure that you think to yourself that you're a good listener and you solve problems when they do occur, and that you are the right side, and of course you know how to give up. But if there was no problem to begin with, then this ping-ponging, listen to me, escalation, back and forth would be a thing of the past. Think how frustrating it is when you feel hurt or misunderstood. You did everything right, according to you. You listen to the other side's reasoning, even though you have your own point of view. You build a perfectly fair argument, only to hear you're not listening to me, or you have that sensation of a blockage. So you end up firing back with, if you listen to a word I said, something like that. You see, at times we think we listen, when in fact we're just interpreting things based on our emotions, And when you feel like you're doing a lot in a relationship and your partner tells you that there's a problem, you may find yourself dismissing the claim because you think to yourself that you are doing enough and that everything is okay. The other side is just overreacting. In other words, you think everything is okay because you do a lot. The other side tells you something is wrong. You say nonsense because you do a lot. Partner tells you, you're not listening to me. You say nonsense. How can I not listen to your needs when I already do a lot? I do so much for you. I already give up so much, etc., etc. This can also just be a thought. And this can happen in our relationship and clearly with business partners or with family or even people in the street. Now, it's beginning to sound a little bit more familiar, doesn't it? Think about how misunderstood you feel in that type of scenario. Now think about how misunderstood the other side feels every time they try to voice their discontent. So dismissing your partner's opinion based on things you already do completely misses the point in this scenario. Because the current problem isn't being addressed. If I tell you I need a new pair of shoes and you get me gloves, you can't really expect me to feel understood, you know? To truly listen, you must disregard everything that came before and address only the current issue. This is, by the way, also a method from the NVC, Non-Violent Communication Workbook, where we never say never and we never say always. And in this way, we never bring things that happened in the past. We're always concentrating only on the present moment. The fact that you may or may not have done other things for the other side doesn't matter here at all. The fact that you think you have sanctified enough doesn't matter. There is a balance point between unconditional love and self-love that must be reached. When you think otherwise, it's usually your ego speaking. It's you telling yourself, great, another demand from me. I'm already doing a gazillion things. I already have done so much. What more do you want from me? I don't even have time for myself. And mind you, this is as bad as reminding people of all the good things that you've done for them when they open up about being upset with you. There's a reason the phrase "listen with your heart" exists. When you do just that, nothing else really matters. Now, clearly, every situation must be dealt with individually without any connection to anything previous. Not the things that you may or may not have done, not the problems that may or may not have occurred in the past. And if the situation is difficult, then even further communication and love is necessary. If this is between a man and a woman, the woman has to understand that men are not taught to talk about things. We're not taught to share how we feel. So the situation usually requires a little bit more patience from that side. You should really ask yourself, is the relationship more important to you than being right? Is your partner more important to you than the idea of being a great partner and doing all these things? My advice, ignore the past, listen now, focus on the future, and resolve it together. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. Please consider subscribing to my channel. I also rely on word of mouth. Thank you for watching. My name is Maor. I'll see you next time, and check out my schedule on raymaor.com. Namaste, my friends.